Alrighty, people. Paul Wilson Linder Jr. here, aka Positive Paul. Happy New Year's Eve to everyone around the globe. Hope you have a safe evening. And it is Sunday, December 31st, 2023. And, as I was rudely cut off last week, right at the critical moment when these sad sack Satanists, look, the way I see it is there's very few people now that can address this situation concerning whether or not we have life forms other than human here on earth. And the question is, they live, but do they live next door to us? Do they live and work with us? Are they the grocery clerk down the end of the street? Are they the gas station attendant? Are they the bartender? Are they the police chief? And what most Americans don't believe that this is actually the case, that they do live. And we've been told over the course of these last, at least, let's say 40 years, 4 decades, Hollywood has brainwashed us into believing that these supposed life forms that come from another dimension, another galaxy, that it's just fantasy. And what they've been able to do successfully is sensationalize it, turn it into a joke, while at the same time, these creeps, these creepy chameleon, Canaanite, dirty dog, Draco, reptoid, Hollywood hybrid hacks are everywhere like cockroaches, and they have no bones about destroying one's life, especially a human that is able to pick up on this and try to address the situation, which is impossible to do in a rational, logical manner, because it's been designed that way. Now, I'm going to use the term life form for this situation now. Some of you want to call them reptilian shapeshifters, aliens using holographic technology. But I will say right now, there are 4 distinct life forms on planet Earth, and they are 1, humans. And then you have a subgroup of humans called Edomites. Then you have hybrids. And then last but not least, these pesky so-called aliens, these reptilians. And they go by other names. And what they've done is, the last group apparently is obsessed. They have a fatal attraction with humans and our way of life, and they are very interested in finding out more about us. And we've, over the course, keeping things in a post-World War II perspective, we have developed what we call these conspiracy theories, which now in our modern vernacular it's in our face. It's in our society, everywhere we see it. We see this in Hollywood. We see this in advertising. You see this on billboards up and down highways in the United States. And more importantly, we see this on our mainstream legacy news that reports what is taking place around the globe, wherever you may be. But we have come to the notion now that the legacy media is certainly controlled by these life forms that aren't human. So, as I said, I'm getting sick of this subject, and it is I tell you, it's a lonely road. I do see a few people still trying to bring awareness, but all they can do is dredge up other people's work. And as always, I will keep it fresh. And I find it funny that once I got to this slide of George Bush is when everything went haywire. The perp plane was buzzing overhead, the iPad heated up, and then the phone actually shut down, and I had to leave it off. It wouldn't come back on, and when it did come back on, the camera wasn't working. But, as always, the man upstairs must want me to do this, and I'm going to do this on this subject one more time, because this is not how I'm going to spend 2024. Now, I will continue to report on these sad sack Satanists. I will continue to report on the stalking and harassing that I go through concerning my satanic ritual abuse, my MK Ultra as a child, and more importantly, these implants, which no one has. All they can do is talk about the neural link, Elon Musk. And remember, everybody that's involved in that is going to be cursed, because the question is, are these humans that are trying to develop a method to maybe help out the less fortunate of us that may be disabled, and maybe it might be something beneficial to these types? But the reality is, to get to that point, these life forms and these Satanists, these sellout humans, were experimenting on children, trying to understand how they can get a grip on humanity and have some type of control over their ability to just live, exist, have a peaceful existence. So these life forms, we know the first one, humans, we are a very unique group. And unfortunately, we have, through a time-tested method, been divided and conquered under the specter of what in the modern vernacular is called racism. And that term was not developed until the early 1900s. Before that, it didn't exist. So if you're a human, black, white, brown, whatever stripe you are, understand that unless you unite, you put these grievances, these differences behind you, us, we cannot move forward and deal with this issue of these other life forms. Now, these other life forms, specifically, it's demonically driven. I've explained this. Racism is demonically driven from the spiritual realm in order to keep humans apart, thinking that, while yes, we are maybe different the way we look, depending on how we experience our life, we think different, but at the end of the day, we're the same. We have a spirit, we have a soul, and we have a body and a mind that can guide us. And we've been given instructions, actually, thousands of years ago on what it would be like to be a morally upright, righteous human. And these other life forms have been constantly, since the beginning of time, the fall of man, finding ways to make sure that that does not happen. Now, what I want to do right now is I'm going to just look at the individual and try to understand Why would these anomalies occur on some and not others? Now, to premise these thoughts, we first want to know, when were these other life forms, specifically the last group, the supposed aliens, able to infiltrate human beings by looking by them? Because we know that these creatures must be very grotesque. And, think of it this way too. As I state, the conspiratorial narrative is intersecting with the biblical narrative. It's on a crash course, make no bones about it. But we have our guide in Scripture to give us the background. And when we look at the whole bugaboo between Jacob and Esau, that is definitely one area, one place we can springboard from to figure out this situation. Now, we know Esau is Amalek, Edom, the Edomites. Now, these Edomites were okay starting out. In Exodus, we were told, do not abhor an Edomite. He is your brother. They still had favor at that point, but when you fast forward and look how things wrapped up and the Israelites were carted away to Babylon, the Edomites went into Jerusalem, ransacked it. They didn't help their brother Jacob out one bit. They aided and abetted the Gentile army that deposed the Israelites and then, crawled back under their rocks. But remember, Esau is a degraded human. Once he had lost favor with the Holy One of Israel, Yahweh, that was pretty much the end of him. And we see this in Malachi, because he loved Jacob and hated Esau and laid his heritage to the dragons of the wilderness. Now, you can look at an Edomite, and through the course of time, let's just look at it this way. If they ever had a glow, a radiance to their look, it's long gone. They are a shadow of their former self. And, in the modern world, when I look at things like plastic surgery, Botox, all that stuff, all the, things that they tell you to make you look younger and beautiful, these are for the Edomites, because their degraded DNA has caused them to be, visually different from Israelite stock, for sure. I see that in my real life, and I can pick it out now. But more importantly, imagine back in the day when we didn't have modern technology. Think of an Edomite as a caveman. And when Israel were wandering around and they ran into some of these Edomites, they were like, whoa, what the hell happened to him? You got these hairy Edomites. They probably had dingleberries all over them, boogers hanging out of their nose, disgusting, slovenly pigs. And when they saw Jacob, their brother, why is Jacob? No, I tell you, he's the dapper Don, right? Looking all fresh, fancy. Well, you can see, folks, that if there is the enmity and we have these groups that eventually can't get along, but one group can clearly identify the other, what does that other group need to do? Find a way to either take control of the situation or try to blend in with the favored group in order to have their way of life. Not scrounging along having to live off the dead carcasses of the wilderness and be, well, I guess, as I said, imagine Esau. He was the original caveman. Okay, so we're trying to get to the bottom of, if they live, who are they? Where are they? Are they our neighbors? Could it be our very next door neighbor? Could it be the grocery clerk down the end of the street, the bartender, the gas station attendant? Well, what we've learned is that these other life forms have found a way to blend into the human population. And I believe that if there are these reptilians, these aliens, and they showed themselves to these bloodlines back in Europe, we're going back, hundreds of years now, that was part of the razzmatazz to get these humans to sell out their families, be enamored with this technology, this magic, this demonically driven magic from the other dimension, the other side behind the veil. And, that's, I think, how it all started. And as we crept along, and just going to stick with the United States, once it became industrialized, all this technology got thrown at us. It came from these off-worlders, these aliens, these more technologically advanced life forms. And what they did is they allowed humans to obtain this technology to improve their way of life. And remember, the way we're living now, it tell you, thousands of years ago, it might have been totally different, like way above and beyond what we know right now. And then over the course of history, with Yahweh getting pissed off, putting the kibosh on a lot of things, natural disasters, all these type of things, wars, resets. But this technology, originally, it was only revealed to a few, these bloodlines. And then as these bloodlines begin to accept this technology, whether it was nuts and bolts, biological, they would, I guess, they would lose what it is to be a human, the essence of being a human, mind, body, soul, spirit. That is, it slowly erodes, it degrades. And this is where you see these, well, trying to be nice now, these freakazoids. I don't want to start, I'll slow down. So as we move into the 20th century, and we have the 2 world wars foisted upon us, but more importantly now, keeping things in a post-World War II perspective, these aliens were able to convince somehow these hardened men that were patriots, I believe, these hardened men that were intelligent. They had a degree of intellect and a conscience that would not allow them to do certain things, but somehow this other life form were able to convince these men that they have to look, you need to follow our guidance. This is what we can do for you. This is what we want. And lo and behold, you have these conspiracy theories that were born. Now it starts off with these, UFO conspiracies, all right? We have to tell ourselves, when actually did anyone question on whether someone was not human? Well, I got to tell you, and my research tells me that this didn't take place until, I guess, the 80s, because we don't have much to go on, folks. All right? Dead man tell no tales. The real whistleblowers are long gone. That they saw what these sellouts were doing and how these Edomites were going behind the backs of their brothers, sisters, doing dirty deals done dirt cheap with the devil, getting hold of this technology, this exotic technology that involves transiting dimensions, being able to be behind the veil, controlling this linear timeline. So we're at a point now is that, look, they're here. They're everywhere because that was their plan. This is a systematic, well thought out plan that they knew this wasn't going to happen overnight, so it was slow but sure. So the first thing they knew from going back thousands of years ago, hundreds of years ago, is that these humans that are connected with the Creator can spot them. They can pick them out, and they will not do business with these other life forms, these Edomites, because they're no good. And see, when the proper, I guess, just say it, the 10 Commandments. Once the 10 Commandments were issued, if you at least stuck to those 10 Commandments, you probably did all right. There was never going to be a problem for an Israelite. But again, somehow the razzmatazz, the handing your children off, putting them through the fire, Moloch, all that, it's just, for us to try to wrap our minds about what went on back then, and then how it ended up in a book, scripture, that we're told has been changed. And what I notice about some of these people that like to say, oh, the Bible's been changed. Do you know they never can tell you how it was changed? They can't say, oh, well, in the book of Revelation where it tells us that the Jews that say they're Jews but they're not, they're the synagogue of Satan. If that's not right, that's not true. What was it? How did they change it? They can never tell you that. And you could use that analogy for everything else, folks. This is how you pick out a social media fraud that doesn't know any better. He can only mimic what he hears from the actual real people that are trying to face this issue head on, deal with it, and mitigate it so we can have our peace of mind, go to bed at night, wake up, be with our families, take care of them, and not have to worry about whether we're under this draconian type authoritative system where if you speak out against it, your very life is in danger. So what happened is, we know now that this technology is real, but has anybody seen it firsthand in their own life? Well, some people have. I have only a couple times. One of the sellouts that was supposed to be my lifelong buddy, he shape-shifted twice right in front of me. And a couple of these hybrid stalkers that were down here in Mexico years ago, they don't come around no more because I can spot them a mile away. They were freaking out on me, doing weird stuff, and a couple of them looked weird with their eyes going opaque, where you see a normal eyeball, and then all of a sudden it's just opaque. There's like nothing there. It's like a film kind of It's like pulling down a vertical blind, and it pulls down. It was like the one individual. It was like a membrane that just went right up over his eye. But fortunately for me, I didn't flinch. So I know this stuff. They're here. And if you're a satanic ritual abuse survivor put through MK Ultra, you're in my age group, these freaks, they had their hands on you. All right? These deviants, these disgusting, diabolical, deviant scum that can't keep their hands off of children. And the one way to destroy humans, they figured out, is you gotta get to the children. That's the only way, because if a child is raised properly and has the spirit of the creator in them, they're going to be 100% opposed to these Satanists and everybody that goes with their agenda, whatever that may be. So let's look at this. Now we know when you get this electromagnetic distortion and everything else in the video, the picture is fine, but the tear, that's an issue, the exposed skin. So for these tears, these shapeshifters, these other life forms, their hot spots that they have trouble stabilizing, maintaining the hologram is on exposed skin, but the eyes, the nose, the mouth, and the hands, the fingers. So if this is one of the life forms that uses holographic technology, and when you see these breakdowns, it's when, look, they try to act like humans, and they think they can joke around. And also, when they're doing their spiel, pretending to be something they're not, like a phony targeted individual, they go haywire, and this is when you see these effects. Now, again, why? Why would this happen? I don't get this. I mean, look at this, people. That's supposed to be Owen Benjamin, but everything else is just fine in the picture. He's another one. We went through this. There's Gilliland, all right? He's hobnobbing with the Palladians, the Orion Council of Light, all this, right? They've been sweeping up the draconian grid, freeing mankind. Just release all your trauma from a kid, See, James wasn't raped and tortured as a kid and had to be stuffed with implants, And so he don't know about that. So one consistent similarity for these frauds is they all parrot the same thing. Now remember, it's something about touching their self to reset the hologram to stabilize it when it goes haywire. And they all do that. Now, let's keep moving. Jeepers creepers, where'd you get them peepers? Now, remember, what do they all have in common with Yodel, folks? All right? He's not shape-shifting. You don't see that electromagnetic distortion on him. But, hey. So, look, I got right here with Georgie Porgy. That's when everything went haywire with my phone and all that. So this is where I left off. Now, remember, old Ronnie here, it was under his watch that the key years of the Montauk Project took place. And you keep that in mind, because this, come 2024, I will be speaking about that, continuing to beat up on these frauds. And now it's like everybody's time traveling. Everybody's a Montauk boy. But you know what? They can't tell you who they are. They only show up in the comments section with their childlike comments. But again, these life forms have found a way to get themselves placed in positions of authority. And they use these hybrids to do that, because a hybrid, they don't have a soul, for one. And look, their lifespan is it can be short too. And now, when we look at all our institutions, legal, medical, judicial, and then filtering down to blue collar, police, all that, it's been taken over by these hybrids. And if there's still humans left, they're either sold out or they keep their mouth shut because they're cowardly little weaselly Benedict Arnolds. I don't know if you know that. And also, remember, people, when I start, this stuff aggravates me and I get my Tourette's going, I go off, I'm not talking to all you. If you're a kind, caring, thoughtful individual, I'm not talking to you. We can get along. So those of you with your egos and your pride and you still think America is the land of the home, the free, the brave, wake the hell up. It's been taken over by these freakazoids, and we are in end times. We've been hearing this now. These watchmen, who half of them are, well, what do you think, folks? Let's take a look. Now, what I want to look here at is this guy Swerdlow, and we know about Ramallah D. She got herself involved with these so-called targeted individuals, which are all gone, all of them. I saw Jubilina put her video up today on, where are these TIs? Where are they, Jubilina? But see, she don't want to know me, and I don't get that. She's the only one left, really, that's making videos. One day she's all in a nice cushy little place, and the next day she's out in the street freezing to death. No one will help this poor lady. And she don't want to talk to me, but I believe she's a human. She's a monarch programmed human, a woman that was put through monarch programming. And somehow, I want to believe in her. I do. But these other ones, Swerdlow, all right? These so-called people that they've got these conspiracies all figured out, and they tell you, hey, this is what they're doing to you. But the one thing is, with these people that go on social media, and here's the other thing I wanted to say. I believe once they start at Facebook and YouTube, that's when these freakazoids, these so-called reptilian shapeshifters, these Edomites using the technology, sell out humans, they were comfortable enough that they could put their mugs up on social media and dupe the rest of the people that are on there, maybe trying to learn something. But remember, social media was designed to misinform, disinform, and only entertain. If you're there to try to get some real knowledge, which it can be there, but once they figure out when somebody puts up something useful, they will censor it or remove it. So you're in this catch-22, people. But look at Swerdlow and Witchy Poo. This guy, all right? The Montauk Project, I'll get back into it. Only 4 people were originally able to start to speak about this, and it would be almost a decade before everybody else start piling on. Now, of course, I woke up late. I'm Johnny come lately, folks, because whatever they did to me was on the extreme end. And again, there's a time-tested method to mitigate the testimony of a satanic ritual abuse survivor. And if you are an SRA survivor, you got implants in you, at least bare bones minimum tracking implants. But in my case, I place myself right where all this is going on and these people are talking about it. But look at Swerdlow. Do you see what happens there? How everything wherever he's at in Michigan, in his cushy little chalet, right? He got to go on and keep his money. Well, they locked him up, I guess, threatened him. Or that's just his story, right? They all got these stories. But the electromagnetic distortion, you cannot overlook that. No one has ever seen that on me to date. Now, look at his eyes. Come on. when you see that, you know that that's one of those other life forms. And one more, look at this. This is just, man. And she's got her own issues too. So Stewart's made his money off these Montauk boys, all of them. Al, Preston, the doofus Duncan. They can never tell you where these Montauk boys were. Only those four. They're the four that survived. The supposed, well, what, millions, when I told you it's probably barely under 30. All right? And I'll explain that again at some other video. But again, with these hybrids or these Edomites, that they put them up on social media to pretend to be something they're not. And the next thing you know, what are they doing? They're shape-shifting all over the place. Now, this guy, what's his face? I don't know, but I've done videos on all this. All right? You cannot have that. You cannot have this, folks. Now, what I noticed is when I was researching MK Ultra, and this was around 2015, I stumbled upon this so-called targeted individual community, which totally rejected me. I was surrounded by the frauds. None of them, if there were any real ones, they're not around anymore. And the ones that were around back then, they're no longer around. They're gone because they were frauds. But these so-called targeted individuals that, hey, they got everything figured out, right? But what happens is when they're doing their spiel and they go haywire. And I've put myself out there now for 8 years. Next year will be my 9th year trying to deal with this issue of these sad sack Satanists, to be nice, and their minions. Now, this Ramallah D, again, look at her tongue. It's a square projection. Why? Why is that? What is it that they cannot stabilize the technology? And look, they're all laughing. They're laughing at all of you, man, laughing at me. Now, I'll never forget when I did my graham cracker video concerning the MK Ultra hearing with Ted Kennedy. And what they do? YouTube pulled the source video down because they're scared. Because what that whole video in its entirety showed is what a joke this is. How this was just a, well, what do I call it? A plan to mitigate their shenanigans, right? It's the same thing with the targeted individual community. Well, it's one aspect of trying to mitigate the testimony of a satanic ritual abuse survivor. Because if people realize what had happened to him as a child, all right? And this is what amazes me, how everybody parroted, oh, targeted individuals, oh, this mysterious government targeting program that no one ever got to the bottom of, all right? And everything that was ever said on social media by the frauds, all right? Some of it might remain, but these people are long gone. You don't know what happened to them or what their names were, who they were, who they're connected to. Their testimonies were, oh, one headlight's following me. Oh, the red, white, black vehicles. And yeah, maybe some of that might happen because, look, their methods for these Satanists when they stalk and harass somebody, it's the same thing. They have to keep it the same because they're one-dimensional. If they start having all these different ways of, playing with people's lives, then it gets confusing. Nobody can follow along. The hand signals, all that. Now, these hybrids, the first group is from 46 through 1960. I'm in the second group, all right, my age group. And when you see these original hybrids, they all kind of have the same problems. And one of the things I noticed is this right here. The way, the lines, I don't know how to describe that, but do you see on his finger? You see that? All right, now this is Pasta Fazzoli. He's been knee deep in the Nephilim, right, folks? All right, but see, they know when things are starting to go haywire with inside them. They know that, and they have to touch themselves to stabilize whatever's going wrong. Now, they're all the same, man. See what I'm saying? They're all the same. All right, the original group. Now, when we look at these things and these individuals, would you see this on them in real life? Well, what if you irritated or aggravated them? All right, you got in their face. Let's say Positive Paul had money and I could go back into the United States and start traveling around and try to get in front of some of these people. All right, what do you think would happen? Well, I'll tell you what would happen, because it happened here in Mexico with these hybrids that were following me around. They freaked out and they ran scared. See, these Satanists are funny. They won't come nowhere near me, and they're spending millions of dollars a year to keep these Mexicans in line and the Americans and whoever's involved in the stalking. And what happens is when you get in knee deep with these Satanists, there's no getting out. All right? It's a curse. Bad luck, or worse, death will find you. So again, the garment spotted by the flesh, all right? We've got to wake up to this. And as I said, I'm done trying to explain this because we're getting nowhere. If we keep putting up the same old tired material like Richard Bruce does, nothing new, then we are in big trouble. We'll never convince the rest that are fast asleep, and the only thing that's going to wake them up is the tribulation when the lights are out, the stores are closed, and then you'll see how people's behavior changes, how nice they get when they're hungry and thirsty. Now, again, with these hands, the waffle maker, why would that happen? Imagine, like, you're cooking dinner one night and your grandson comes up to you. Hey, Grandpappy, can you make me some of those cross-cut fries you do, how you print that out with your hand? Sure, Billy Bob. And I'll tell you what, matter of fact, we're going to make some peanut butter cookies afterwards, too. Could you, look at this, man. It's the square projection again. The tongue turns into a square projection. Now, I noticed Jane Tandy's back. She surfaced, all right? And I don't get it, She's, hey, good-looking broad, right? It wouldn't kick her out of bed for eating crackers. Come on, guys, lighten up. But, look, I don't know what to say. Why does that happen? Why does that happen, I don't see the full-on, like, facial electromagnetic distortion where the skin loses all structure, form. I don't get that. I don't get that. See, I look, again, I'm just a very lowly satanic ritual abuse survivor. My days are numbered. There's no prospect for work in the United States. I guess maybe if I went up there, it'd be nice. Hey, give me a job sweeping up at McDonald's so I can get my hands on some money, take care of my son. But what you notice about all these people, oh man, they're living good lives. They're in nice cushy homes. They have all this expensive audio recording equipment, these expensive microphones to do these videos. And hey, I've been doing this for 8 years now with the smashed up iPad and iPhones. That once this iPhone's done, unless someone buys me another one or can cough up some money. And thank you to Jude and Athena, my friends that got me through 2023. I pray for them, and I hope that this year brings all of us peace of mind. But, hey, like I said, There's not going to be another iPad for me or a laptop or none of that. I can't really, like I said, this targeted individual community, they rejected me, but I don't, I never, I've all along claimed my problem is satanic ritual abuse and these Satanists. And, I guess, I don't know what it is about social media that you can't really find. It's a dime a dozen, man. We are the, I guess, literally extinct through a time tested method. I don't know why they're letting me hang around. Like I said, YouTube lets me keep my channel just so these Satanists can keep an eye on me and see what goes on down here. They got the Mexicans in their back pocket. The payroll, I can't even imagine what it is a month to keep these perp houses going, keep these Camaro Clown Club stalkers going, which they've actually took some time off, I guess, for the holidays. And the Community Watch Snitch Network, and it's so funny. These people, they have to be told when to leave their house, when to walk their dog. It's so funny. These people would never dream of walking their dogs, and now they're being told to do all these things that just they would never be done. And the thing of it is, with the Community Watch in these countries like Mexico, where they have high crime rates, the cartel, look, no, these criminals are running rampant, and these people hide in their houses. If you report on the cartel, look out, man. But they'll come out of their houses or peek out their windows to get their chump change for the American. Do you see the hypocrisy? Now, this Draco Ditz, Carrie Cassidy, with this Edomite, so-called pedo, I guess, whatever, they strung him up. But see, he knows all about Project Looking Glass. He knows all about time travel. But yet, there's one thing. Look at his hand right there. It's like, is this guy turning into a platypus? Look at that. But again, see, now this is what the one handler guy, my so-called buddy Jay, looked like when the demonic distortion kicked in. All right? The chin stretches, the eyeballs get all like discolored, and you lose form. But what happens? They gotta touch and stabilize the hologram. Now, how she got involved, she's in knee deep with everything. All right? And what YouTube does, they have these commercials for Project Camelot in between the feeds. Her videos, she don't really put up videos anymore, but they have these things that link you up to her Rumble site or something. But this guy, whatever his name is, he's supposed to be one of the original ones that started yapping about Project Looking Glass, remote viewing, and all this, the big whistleblower. But look at him. All right, again. All right, I don't get this. So this is going back to 2012, and this is where you start to see all these social media frauds. They just flood YouTube. And then remember what happened. YouTube outlived its usefulness, and they had to cut everybody loose to go to BitChute and wherever else. Now, none of these freaks got these flyovers. None of these freaks talk about being harassed and stalked. Some of them do, but they can't show you the flyover or these directed energy attacks or these resets. See that? Why am I the only one that can show my face and tell you who I am? And why isn't there a lazy lying lizard lawyer in the United States? Why isn't there one that can help me? Because they're all bought and paid whores? Is that why? Why would the VA try to set me up? Now, third phase of the moon, they've been tasked the assignment to try to pick up where these other frauds left off, pretending to be me. and I got my eye on them. Now, Kinnigan, he's been making videos again. I like this guy, but he don't want to know me, but I'm going to back him up because I think he's the real deal. But remember, these other shapeshifter ninnies, they're nowhere to be found. And some of them, I'll never forget when the Divine Truth, she had she went from 3,000 subscribers overnight to 7,000. When you see that, folks, right there's a clue that you got a social media fraud on your hands. But you wouldn't know that because the childlike, fragile eggshell minds that exist on social media, they cannot discern right from wrong, what human or hybrid is. And we always see they can only go to Hollywood. They won't go to your grocery store or something, man. Check some of these people out into one of your banks or wherever. Nope, they take the safe route because what? If they did that to someone that is actually in their real life, and they're there probably, there would be blowback. And so so this guy Ravi Shankar, check this out. Kinnigan does that, but the same thing with the eyes. But here, this is my buddy Jay Kennison up in San Diego. He sold me out. The feds, he was one of the first people the feds went to because he had been trying to support me. He'd been doing it for years. I talked to him about certain issues. He knew about MK Ultra. But what happened is the feds went in and they tuned him up and he sold me out. When he could have said, hey, Paul, you got these asshole feds snooping around saying that you got yourself into a little mess. He wouldn't even ask me anything. And what happened was his mom, who is both our handlers, he don't even realize it. This lady, Linda Kennison, she's a nurse. She was involved with Delgado out in Connecticut. And I know this for a fact. But what happened is Jay, when he shapeshifted, he looked like this Brock, whatever. He looked just like that, right in front of me. He did it twice because we were arguing about the stalking and stuff. And so, yeah, there you go. That's right, Jay. Now, these other goofballs that are supposed to be whistleblowers, this secret space program, all right? All of them are, look, man, this guy, David Wilcox, he's in his little palatial estate. Richie from Boston, all he does is he drives around the United States staying in expensive hotels, all right? He hasn't, look, where does this guy's money come from, all right? And here I am. See, you people think that you're going to get away with this, that they were able to kill off these MK Ultra survivors through a time-tested method and put these dopes in place of us to pretend to be something they're not and mislead people. And the one thing they all have in common, not so much Richie. Richie learned his lesson because he's scared. That they won't touch the Holy One of Israel. They won't touch Scripture. And let me tell you something. The people that don't like the Bible and think, oh, well, the Bible's not the only book. That's where prophecy is. Get it through your thick heads. I got implants in my teeth, my whole body, head to toe. Right there's the x-ray from the one tooth with the anomalies right there and right there. Now, you can look at me all day long, but I'm the one with these alien insectoids, these dragons. And now this other YouTube channel I find out about, Custodian File, he don't want to know me. He won't answer any of my questions, but yet he thinks he's going to sit up there in Los Angeles and pretend that he's got something figured out. I'm telling you, people, look, the only way that this stops is if they get rid of me or they lock me up. or they don't allow me to go back on social media because I've got some things in the works. And remember, I've only told half my story to you dopes on social media. Now, if I could sit down with some of you, some of the ones I think are real people, some of the ones that have helped me, I would love to explain more. But see, when you look at my YouTube channel now, it's frozen. All right? They do not like these flyovers or anything because what it does is it totally turns all their satanic shenanigans and stories on upside down. All right? Now let's look at me. I'm the asshole here, fighting for my life, all right? If I go back to the United States to try to get medical help, what will they do? Will they try to cover it up again? Or will they send stalkers out to try to what? I don't know, get me in a position where they can lock me up or pull some crazy shit? I don't know, folks. You don't know what these hybrids or these, well, reptilian shapeshifters are up to. What do you think? Are you going to invite them to your New Year's Eve party? Party like it's 1999? And send them a Christmas card? Do you think they would like that? Now, again, I'm out there. You can examine me. But again, I got all these weird things in my videos. You can look at me in the sunlight all day long. And yes, as I've stated, if a little child was put through satanic ritual abuse and God knows what, would they display the attribute of the slit eye? Yes, people. Wake up, please. Again, all these things right there. Look close. You can look. I got my little beady eyes right there. Look at my hands, all right? I'm not making waffles or peanut butter cookies or stamping out cross-cut fries, all right? Now, what do you think? That our government is not infested with these freaks? Wake up, people. And when you see these lowlifes wink, 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 wink at you, just remember, they don't have salvation. All they have is their big mouths, and they have this world which is soon to be destroyed. Some of you don't want that. See, I talked about this, 2016, 2017. But they would send these helicopters over when I'm making my videos. They'd freeze my iPhone up, and then YouTube would remove my UFO videos. It looks like there's nothing from 2017, but hey, I have some stuff saved. But what's the point of putting it back up there? To get what, one view? See, look, I have a right to defend myself. I have a right because there are dead children that did not have a chance to testify or witness. And these Machiavellian monsters, these intellectual barbarians that pretend that they're doing this stuff to help mankind, no, it's all about destroying Jacob and try to extend whatever time they have left. Now, this guy, what's his face? Kirby Puckett. All right? This guy, you really can't catch him, but he was talking about backing up Israel and something went haywire and he had to keep touching himself. But look under his nose. See that? And see by his eye? Right there, it's more pronounced under his nose, the splotchy effect. I don't know what that's about, but come on. There, Oh, everyone that's got the slit eye. So he's a reptilian too, right? Old Henny, you joined Uncle Carl and Georgie Porgy and the rest of them in the lake of fire there, buddy boy. Now, these targeted individuals, This guy's still around, but he was one of the original ones. And now he's looking like Rumpelstiltskin. His hair's down past his butt. But ooh, the directed energy weapons. Directed energy weapons. Here's this particular video that has no views is probably one of my best videos. I was examining some things and I stumbled across that. But I want to quickly, Jubilina, look, you've got my support there, baby doll. But I don't get you, all right? You did your thing today. Where are these TIs? You're talking about the goofball necks and Steve. Have fear of Jan Brennan. Have fear of me. They're gone for one reason, all right? But here she was about a month ago. And for some reason, she didn't want us to see where she was. She went outside and did this little dance talking about the gang stalkers, which none of them were there. Apparently the leaf blower guy was somewhere. But somehow, with her crummy old laptop or some way, and she says she's not very technologically savvy, she did not want anybody to figure out where she was. And I don't understand that, because this poor woman needs help. How are we supposed to help you if we don't know where you're at? Folks, I'm here in Cheveria, Rosarito Beach, Mexico. I've begged for people to come down here and see what's going on. I'll meet you in the United States. Put some money in my pocket and I'll hop on a bus and go wherever you are and meet you and do an interview. But see, after 8 years, I know that's never going to happen. And the people that have supported me, thank God for that. Because without that, who knows, you know? And so again, remember, I don't lump all you in the same basket. If you're a Benedict Arnold, well, hey, I don't know what to tell you. But if you're one of the good Americans trying to make a difference, raise awareness, not just stick your head in the sand and act like none of this is occurring and people's lives aren't being destroyed, you have to wake up to the reality that it's going to be knocking at your door soon. No one's getting out of this, people. No one. No one. No one. Especially Richie. Especially Richie. Now, Richie Bruce. Come on, Rich. Look, you've been around for a while. Here's what I noticed. The original people on YouTube that try to deal with this reptilian shapeshifter thing are all gone now. But there was a transition around 2012. He shows up around 2013. And it's the company you keep, Rich, all right? I don't understand why you got to keep going back to Keanu Reeves and The Matrix and all that. Come up with something different. And these people that are having these alien abductions, like this Jan Brennan, have fear of Jan Brennan, all right? And Palsy Wowsy, I remember Plackinger, all right? The goofball with treading on serpents. The phony book that she wrote. You know, this is why I'm not going to do this anymore. Now, these guys I like. But why is that happening to him? These Watchmen. You can't really see it, but they're kind of getting whacked out. Is this a function of me being out of whack with time? All right? Being out of whack due to time travel? Or is it we got a situation? Now, this is fresh. And on December 6th, things started going haywire again for these creepy chameleon, Canaanite, dirty dog, Draco, reptoid, Hollywood hybrid hacks that fester, infest, contaminate social media. And what happened is I caught this just in time, and what they did is immediately correct it. Because Pastor Paul the Cream Cheese Bagley don't want you to know what his deal is. Now, I could be wrong, but maybe not. Who remembers Russ Dizdar, right? What's up with these deliverance ministers? You know, I tried to contact him. He wouldn't touch me with a 10-foot pole. But yet he's dunking these other people in saunas, releasing the demons, people. And look, the directed energy, they don't put these weapons in the hands of just some numbskull gang stalker. That's rule number one. A trained operative that knows how to use these weapons, and when they get their hands on it, they are being watched because this technology it is kept under wraps. And when you hear these people, oh, my neighbor's hitting me with directed energy, right there, you got a fraud on your hands. Because if that's the case, it's a trained operative in a unit, an apartment, in a house, somewhere where it's close by, and they can do this, implement these weapons. And what would happen is these people, this is another one Jubilina was talking about, this triumphant guy. I don't know, could be a good guy. He disappeared. But they all parroted the same thing, this mysterious government targeting program. It doesn't exist. If you're being targeted, you're being harassed, you're connected to somebody within the military, industrial, satanic complex, or you got some Satanist in your family, an Uncle Carl. And yes, when Alex Jones talks about all the Trilateral Group, the Bilderbergers, Bohemian Club, maybe you've got a relative that's connected to one of these groups, and maybe, these people, there's no loyalty among thieves, all right? Some of them go haywire, and when that happens, when these Edomites try to go off on their own, they'll be reined in. But again, these directed energy weapons do not fall in the hands of just anybody. Get that through your heads. Now these freaks that are all, she married Bill Binney. I couldn't believe that, man. I mean, this is just crazy. These freaks years ago that were telling you, oh, make these Faraday cages, these tinfoil hat dopes that, oh, Nazi implant detected in the navel. The stuff that I heard and listened to, it's just bizarre. And where are they? Oh, here's one, Cody. I'm an MK Ultra survivor, used for breeding because I have rare blood. All the entities would come into my room, paralyze me, levitate me. Do you realize the childlike comments that you see on YouTube and BitChute everywhere else? This is just why. This is why I'm not going to do this anymore. I'm going to stick to a couple things. And as far as these targeted individuals, you stay the hell away from me. You wake the hell up. You get a Bible and understand that, yes, this is a spiritual battle, but these freaks exist in our dimension, and there is a physical aspect to it. And hey, what can I tell you, man? So yeah, these people, they came and went. But here's one of the original ones, Renata. And she may be a wonderful lady. I don't know her. God is our protector. But what happened is she was involved with all these other frauds pretending to be these TIs. And Brian, too, is at the top of the list. Here's his famous talk with her and these other dopes way back when about the R&M supercomputer. And what they all were saying is, oh, it's a program. It's not a program, people. You have these sick, disgusting Satanists that run your life, our society. And they have a certain amount of time to continue to do this. And the plug is going to be pulled. And great men and women across the globe tried to stand up against them, and they were cut down, killed, or discredited. Their lives were destroyed. And now the two generations of youth post-World War II that were sidelined through MK Ultra, brainwashed, their lives were destroyed. They were the ones that were going to stop them. And now what's left is, look, People are still going to the movies. They're still going to see their sports. They're still looking at all their pornography and all this other garbage that Hollywood floods. See, do you see this? The government complains about the violence, the smut, but they let Hollywood continue to benefit, make millions of dollars off this garbage. And no one's stopping them. The only thing that will stop them is a nuke to hit LA or that earthquake. Now, the same thing. Brian, too, he's on TikTok now, doing the same thing he did 7, 8 years ago. Oh, my heart, my ears. Oh, directed energy, severe, brutal directed energy torture. Do you know if they microwave you that they're going to leave some type of indication? Your skin will turn into a rash. It will burn. You'll see a burn. You'll see some type of indication that something was not right. Do you understand that? Come on, people. Now look, all of them. See, this is why Jubilina was talking about all these very people. And I was trying to do this video a week ago, but these assholes flying around. See, this is why, what's the point? Because you cannot talk about any of this without going nuts. I can't do this without getting upset. And, I'm going to tell you something, people. That in order to solve this is not going to, the solution doesn't come from our government. The solution's not Chump, the snuffleupagus. He's one of Uncle Carl's lackeys, all right? All of them. He's just picking up where they left off. There's a thing that was called the Old Boy Network. And around 9/11, a lot of them started dying off, and the new group, the new batch of Satanists that took over, these creeps, man, the Old Boy Network had a modicum of trying to, I guess, keep things normal, keep it clean. But this new batch, all right, they know that, look, their time is up. So there's no salvation for none of them. And we got to ask ourselves, this guy, Brian, too, who is still around, he can't get help either, but he never wanted to talk to me. And he was right there in San Diego. I went and looked for him. But here he is telling people targeted individuals must flee to countries which hate the American government like Russia and China. Who would give advice like that? Who would do that? And then his whole shtick, he's always getting beat up. It's the same thing with some of the other ones. I don't get this. Now, I'm going to take this very gently. I like Jacob at God's Roadmap, but what he's done is he thinks that all of a sudden he's going to bring up these conspiracy theories that he didn't want to know nothing about years back. None of these watchmen do. Some of them do. Pastor Stan gets involved in it, Prophecy Club, because he's been knee deep from day one, back in the 90s. But God's Roadmap has put these three as his examples for what we can expect the future to be like from the mouths of these so-called whistleblowers. All right? And I tell you what, man, I'm gonna let me see something real quick here, because it's getting out of hand. I'm gonna end it at this. All right, if you're on social media and you're running your yap about this Galactic Federation, and you're putting up videos, you're taking them down, putting them back up, I don't care who you are. We've got people whose lives are being destroyed because of this. And you understand this, you people in America, which barely anybody's going to hear this. This is a bunch of garbage. When you hear this, these people, oh, there they are. There's the Galactic Federation. Just whizzing by, and plant abundance happened to be at the right place at the right time. Getting all these messages from these freaks saying, oh, we're coming, don't worry. We're going to save you humans from these dreaded reptilians, these good aliens. You people that you go on social media, and you know what? If we don't know who you are, and you're trying to remain anonymous, and you've been abducted by aliens or whatever, you're a my lab or whatever your deal is, and you can't show your face because you're scared, and you know this is it, all of us are in deep doo-doo, you are a coward, you are a Benedict Arnold, and I tell you what, short of your repentance, keeping up that line of behavior is not going to save you. Now, what I liked about Kanigan is he talked about this crystal polarization. And I'm starting to see it. And I'm curious why this numbskull, David Icke, he's been knee deep in this, but he never talked about the crystal polarization. Why is that, folks? And why does he know so much? And why is he... Man, he's living good, I tell you that. All right, well, let's call it quits. This is the new Stephen Greer video from tonight. And of course, he's telling you how hard he's been working to bring disclosure, and he's working with these senators and all these people. But I don't know, man. He's missing a nostril. And then when the nostril comes back, it looks like he's got a booger hanging out of it. And I just don't know. What they do is they purse their lips. When these lazy lying lizards start to get a little haywire, they purse their lips. That's another clue, people. Wake up.